What is up, fellow dirt junkies? It is good to be back. Let me apologize for my long absence from YouTube. Don't worry, I've still been getting my dose of dirt in any way that I can. Backpacking, trail running, adventure racing, that's a new thing I've picked up. But I apologize for not sharing my adventures, gear reviews, other things along the way. That all changes for 2024. It's going to be a great year, and I've got a bunch of gear on this table in front of me that I want to share with you. I'll be using on my adventures, testing, and sharing my thoughts about these gear items with you. Most of these are well within the budget category, which is something I tried to focus on because I think backpacking and adventuring can and should be affordable. I am a huge believer in that. The gear in front of me runs the spectrum all the way from tents down to base layers. Don't worry, we won't go through every single item I've picked up recently. I will be sure to share those with you as the year goes on, but we're going to hit the big items, the highlights in this video today. If there's something else that you would love to see me review, take a look at, and make a video about, let me know in the comments below. I'm always looking for new gear to try out, and I especially want to know what gear items you want me to take a look at. So let me know in the comments. Let's get into it, talking first about tents. This is a tent that I picked up on Cyber Monday for $180, and then the very next day saw that it was actually on sale for $130. So I returned the $180 tent that I bought and bought the same tent for $130. Whatever. Apparently Cyber Monday is a lie. This is the Featherstone backbone one-person trekking pole tent. It comes in at 2 pounds 6 ounces, and a couple things I'm excited about regarding this tent are, first of all, the price. $130 for a decent trekking pole tent to me seems like a fantastic deal. But some specific features here. It actually has 2 vestibules. I often leave my shoes, sometimes my pack, other things in the vestibule depending on how much room is in the tent. So having 2 vestibules can make a big difference. And because of those 2 vestibules and the way that the tent is structured, there's a lot more internal room, I think, than other trekking pole tents that I've tried. Another great thing about this Featherstone backbone is it comes fully seam sealed. I love my Lanshan Pro 1. It's affordable, works well, it's light, but sealing those seams was an extra chore that I'd rather do without. So I'm looking forward to using this tent and specifically comparing it to the Lanshan Pro 1. I think it could be a really good tent. The other tent that I picked up is the Paria Arches one-person trekking pole tent. And I've actually already used this one. It comes with a ground cover, which I actually couldn't get back in the bag. I'll have to try that again. But yeah, this is the Paria. I say that wrong all the time. The Paria Arches one-person tent. Sorry, Paria. I'm a big fan of Paria products. I haven't tried any of their tents before. When I saw this for $150, I think, on the Paria website, I knew I had to check it out. This is another one-person trekking pole tent that uses 2 trekking poles. I will tell you one thing I didn't realize about this tent when I ordered it is that it's a double-wall tent. You may take that as a bad thing or a good thing. I personally have not used a double-walled trekking pole tent before. So it'll be interesting trying this one out and comparing it to the single-wall trekking pole tents that I do have. The Featherstone backbone, my Lanshan Pro 1, and some others. So watch for some comparisons of those 3 tents and maybe even some others if I pick up more along the way. Another tent that I had considered getting with a hefty price tag is the Zpacks Plex Solo. As far as I can tell, it is the lightest one-person tent that you can get that has a solid bathtub floor, but it costs a lot of money. I'm wondering whether any of you would be interested in a comparison of that level of tent versus some of these others that I'm talking about. Comparing one of the most expensive one-person trekking pole tents with some of these more affordable, budget-friendly options. Seems like that could be helpful, but let me know what you think. I haven't bought one yet. I just don't know if I want to pay that much for another one-person tent. I'll probably give in, but we'll see. Let's move on to sleep systems. First up, let's talk about sleeping bags. Now, I'm more of a quilt fan these days, and we'll get to those in a second. You can see the Hammock Gear logo over here. But let's talk about some sleeping bags first. Last year, I did a video comparing 2 0-degree sleeping bags, and my clear favorite was the Paria 0-degree Thermodown. But it was a little bit pricier at almost $200. I wanted to see if I could find a good 0-degree sleeping bag for a little bit less. With that in mind, I picked up the Hyke and Byke Kathadin 0-degree Fahrenheit. This one has synthetic down insulation and comes in at $110, just about $110. So looking forward to testing this out, a 0-degree sleeping bag, and I will likely compare that to the Teton Sports Altos 0 degree sleeping bag. I'm a big fan of Teton products as well. They have a tendency to make fantastic budget-friendly products, whether it's my camp pillow, backpacks, and several other gear items of theirs that I own. In fact, the previous 0 degree sleeping bag comparison that I did featured another Teton bag that was just a little too heavy for my liking. This one's a little bit lighter, so we'll see how it performs. It has a different type of insulation. It's more of like a batting type insulation called Serono. So we'll see how it compares to the Hyke and Byke Kathadin 0 degree. So those are the sleeping bags. As I said, I am more of a quilt guy now. Let's talk about quilts. First one is a budget-friendly option from Sierra Designs. I picked this one up off of Amazon for, I can't remember how much, I think it was over 100. But it had some features on it that I was interested. I'm often more of a stomach sleeper at home, and it has these cool little, maybe mittens. They're basically pockets in the corners of the quilt that you can put your hands into and then sort of wrap up into. Because I'm a stomach sleeper and tend to sleep sort of in that position, that feature interested me about this quilt. And I'm always on the lookout for affordable quilts. There seems to be a lot more budget-friendly sleeping bag options than there are quilt options. So whenever I see a budget-friendly quilt, I want to test it out. As you know, I did a video about that, testing 3 budget-friendly quilt options. This one's definitely more expensive than those. Supposed to be warmer, should take me down close to freezing. It's currently listed on Amazon at $200, which I know I did not pay that much for. I'm going to tell you right now, I wouldn't pay $200 for this quilt. Let me get into some other quilts that I think are much more worth that type of price tag. But I think you'll be able to find this one on sale. We'll still do a review of it. And I really want to compare this to my Paria thermodown quilt, 15 degree thermodown quilt. I'm excited about that video because I love that quilt compared to this one. See how they do. So look forward to that. The other quilts that I bought are actually both from Hammock gear. Admittedly, I do a lot of my backpacking gear shopping on Amazon, but because quilts are so difficult to find on Amazon, or good quality quilts, I've been looking elsewhere and I found this company Hammock gear, specifically because of their quilt, the Econ Burrow. Don't let the name throw you. If you love sleeping in a hammock, you probably already know about the company Hammock gear. If you're a ground sleeper like me, you probably haven't heard of them. Their quilts can still be used for sleeping on the ground, and I have to tell you, they are fantastic. I know that because before my big 100-mile trip across the Uinta Mountains, I knew I wanted a warm and light quilt that I could depend on. So I actually picked up this Hammock gear 40 degree quilt, and I absolutely love it. It is light, it is warm down to 40 degrees. It was so comfortable. I haven't done a full review on it. I will later and compare it to some of these other quilts. This quilt was awesome. Now, it was a little pricier. You do get to customize everything you want about your quilt, how wide or how long, even the colors, whether you want the footbox sewn or open. You get to pick everything about your quilt. Hammock gear does have some quilts that they just keep in stock that you can purchase right off of the shelf, but customizing them is the way to go. This 40 degree, I think, ran me about $180 at the time. I don't remember. It was about a year and a half ago that I bought it, but it is well worth it. And because I loved it so much, I knew I wanted to get another Hammock gear quilt. So this one is the Hammock gear 0 degree quilt. I have not had a chance to use this quilt yet, but I am stoked about it. And January is going to be the perfect month because it is cold. Now, this 0 degree quilt is pretty expensive. I remember looking it up before Cyber Monday sales, and it was over $400. But Hammock gear had a sale for 30% off, so I actually picked it up for, I think, just $280. Of course, that's a lot more than some of these other options in front of me, but you cannot beat the warmth to weight ratio of this Hammock gear quilt for the price. Now, before we move on from sleep systems, there is one sleeping pad I want to mention. And I honestly don't know much about this sleeping pad. It's the Powerlix. I picked it up because it seems to be one of the highest rated sleeping pads on Amazon. The other one is the Sleepingo, which I don't know if that's how you say it. I've done a video about if you want cheap and light and moderately comfortable, it's not a bad way to go. I personally have a favorite sleeping pad. It's the Trekology UL80. Even though it's not new, I'll put a link to that one below just because it's totally my favorite. I wanted to compare this one to that one to see if this highly rated pad on Amazon can compare to my favorite pad, the Trekology UL80. If you have a favorite sleeping pad that you'd like me to compare to the Trekology, let me know below. I'll tell you right now, I like my sleeping pads thick and tall and wide, but not too heavy. That's a tough combination to find. The Trekology I think is 26 ounces as far as weight. It's 4 inches thick, 23 inches wide I think, and 75 inches long, which works really well. I've got a wider frame and I'm 6 feet tall. If you have one you think that could compare, let me know and I may pick it up and do a video about it. So that's all for sleep systems. I also have a couple new packs. One, if you live in the US and don't know about the REI garage sale section, you've got to check that out because that's where I got this. This is an Arcteryx Ultralight pack. It's 45 liters. Somebody returned it. It had some slight staining and they had written their initials on it, and so it was 50% off. I picked this pack up for $125 from REI. Slightly used. There aren't any holes in it. It seems like a really nice pack. I would have liked to have picked up an Arcteryx pack to try out and compared to my Zpacks Arc Haul back there, but I can't buy multiple $200, $300, $400 packs. It just can't do it. So found this one at the REI garage sale, picked it up, and I'm really excited about trying it out. But that was an REI garage sale find. If you live close to an REI, if you're ever going past there, it's definitely worth stopping in. Just looking at the garage sale section, I picked up a lot of great stuff there for really cheap. The other pack that I have, a little bit different, is this Ultimate Direction 20-liter pack. Now, it's not your typical backpacking backpack. It's a lot smaller, 20 liters. It's going to take some ultralight gear to be able to do any type of overnighters in this. But I really want to try out some fast packing this year. I love trail running. I love covering a lot of miles. I love moving fast. You can cover more miles, which to me means more smiles. All right, so those are the packs. The Arcteryx that I picked up at the REI garage sale, the Ultimate Direction Fast Pack 20. The next thing I want to talk about is shoes. If you've been around this channel for any amount of time, you know that I only hike in zero drop wide toe box shoes. Ultras are my typical go-to, though I have recently discovered some different brands. I am super stoked about a semi-new shoe from the brand Topo. You can see that I've already been using them. They're a little bit muddy. I've just used them a couple of times. I'm excited about these because Topo makes currently my favorite trail running shoe. I think it's the Run Venture 4, but the stack height on it isn't as high as I would like for backpacking, where you've got that extra weight on your back and you're on your feet all day. What I love about them is that they all come with this Vibram grip sole, which works so well in any conditions. In fact, one of the long trail races I did, it was a freaking blizzard the whole time, and I had bought some new shoes to use for that ultra marathon because they had a higher stack height. They were supposed to be great shoes, and then when I saw the snow, I knew that those shoes that I'd gotten just weren't going to cut it. So I went for my Topos. They were fantastic because of this Vibram Mega Grip. I'm getting distracted. What I'm excited about with this shoe is that it's just like that other one that's my favorite, except it's a slightly higher stack height, which means more cushioning under your feet. I would put money that this is going to end up being my go-to shoe for just about everything during 2024. It really seems like a do-it-all, very versatile shoe. So I'm really stoked about this one. The other thing that I want to show you, I decided I wanted to try some folding trekking poles. Admittedly, I'm going to be returning these ones because I pulled them out of this bag and they reek. They smell so bad. That really strong factory smell. And I also just don't love the way that the grips feel. They looked like cork on the website or on Amazon, but they are not cork. I love the cork handles on my Cascade Mountain Tech carbon fiber trekking poles. So I'm not real happy with these. I'm gonna have to find another set of folding trekking poles. I just know that smell is never going to go away. And when I use the trekking poles, my hands get sweaty, that smell is gonna transfer to my hands, and I'm just gonna always regret buying these trekking poles. So don't buy these ones. I mean, feel free, I don't care. Buy them if you want to. They stink. I'm going to be returning these, and I'm going to have to find another set of folding trekking poles that are in the budget price. Oh gosh, they stink. That's all the gear that I have in front of me. A couple other things that I'll mention are, one, I picked up some new base layers. For a long time, I've been using these 32 degrees base layers that I picked up from Costco. Very cheap, affordable. They work great when I'm hiking because they're pretty thin. I hike pretty warm. But I wanted something warmer that I could use at night for sleeping, especially on colder trips. So 32 Degrees actually has a fantastic website with lots of really affordable clothing and other gear. So I picked up some heavyweight base layers from 32 Degrees, and while I was at it, also picked up a hat and a puffy coat. All of it was super affordable. I think the base layers were $8 a piece. You can pay 10 times that, it seems, even on Amazon for some base layers, which is just nuts. No offense if you've done that. So I'll be doing a video comparing those lightweight to those heavyweight base layers in the near future while it's still winter. And I think that's all the gear that I wanted to share with you today. As I mentioned at the beginning, if there's other things you would like to see me test, let me know in the comments. One specific thing is hiking pants. I have a favorite pair of hiking pants. I did a video about them. I'll put a link to that up here. I haven't found anything that can compare in the price range. I'm not willing to pay $70, $100, $150 for hiking pants. I'm just not. I'm way too cheap for that. So I would love to know if you have a favorite pair of hiking pants that's under $50. Drop that in the comments, because I haven't been able to find any that compare to mine. I need some new ideas. Let me know. I'd love to do a video about that. With that, I hope you have a fantastic 2024 year of adventuring. And remember, life is better with some dirt in it.